Thanks for clicking on this video, which is all about provider reports in the IMS system for the affordable homes programs that we've got running at the agency. My name's Susan Roberts and I'm the IMS training manager for the agency. This video was recorded in June 2016, so obviously reflects IMS at that point. If there are any future changes to provider reports, minor changes will leave the video as it is. If there's some major changes to the reports, then we'll look to re-record this video and replace it online. So this video is a mix of presentation and me talking to you through some screens and some website information and clicks. I am recording what I'm doing in IMS. It's not dummy screen, so you're going to sort of see live data. But the data that you're going to see is all test data that's been specifically set up for this video. It's not live data. You're not seeing any individual providers' data as part of what I'm doing. So I'm going to look at what provider reports are. Is there any written guidance and how you'd access that? How do you know if you've got access to provider reports? Because it's not something that you automatically have access to. Then if you've not got access, how would you get access, and what exactly would your security administrator need to do to give you the correct access? I'm then going to go into the reports itself, and I'm going to look at the different types of reports that are available and how you would run and export those reports. Remember, this is a video. You can stop, rewind, replay at any point. So there's now a facility within IMS for you as providers to generate your own reports of future forecasts, and some of them also include in-year actuals to date. So the reports reflect the latest approved position in IMS. So you've submitted a forecast change. HCA approved that at 10 o'clock in the morning. At 1 minute past 10, if you ran a provider report, it would reflect that approved position. Now, this is different to the business objects report that HCA staff might share with you at various points, because they're all at a fixed date point. So it might be it's close of the previous day, it might be end of month, it might be end of quarter, but they do not update during the day. So you would access the reports via the IMS main menu, and we will see that one shortly. So first of all, accessing the guidance on provider reports. And I'm going to do that by taking you to the HCA website and show you the route that you'd take to get to the guidance. Okay, so I'm on the HCA website now. The first thing I do is click on the top option in that first menu, Funding Programs. Okay, I then move down the A to Z list to where it says Investment Management System, Access, Guidance and Support, IMS Investment Management System. Okay, I will then scroll down the screen, and one of the options under Documents is the Guidance Documents. So all our guidance documents are held on this page. So we start off with some guidance on security, Help to Buy Program Management, 1621, and then we get to 1518 guidance. And under there, the last option is Program Delivery Reports. In IMS, they are the provider reports. So I'll click on that and it'll open a PDF file for me, which if I scroll down, you will start to see IMS screens. So how do you check that you have access to the reports? So I'm going to log into IMS as a user and show you what would happen if you don't have access, and then how you would check and what your security administrator would need to do. Okay, so I'm now logged on as a user. So if I click on provider reports, let's see what happens. Okay, so I get a message on screen that says I don't have permission to access provider reports. So let's confirm that by looking at the authorities, the rights that we do have in IMS. So click on OK to get rid of that message, and then I go into the security module. So if I click on security and then maintain organization users. So it automatically comes up with my organization code and name. If I click on Find, that will find all users in the organisation. Okay, so you will see I have a number of trainees set up on the system, and I also have one called Jane Doe. I'm currently logged on as Jane Doe, so I'm going to check what my authorities are. So I can click anywhere within that line, then double click, and then you will see at the top it says Authorities. So let me click on Authorities, and I will see that Jane Doe, myself, who I'm logged on as, has 3 authorities, and none of those say anything to do with provider reports. So that is confirming that Jane doesn't have access to provider reports. So I'm now going to log off as this user, and the next time you see an IMS screen, I will be logged on as a security administrator for the organisation, and I will show you what a security administrator would need to do to give Jane Doe access. Okay, so I'm back in IMS. The first thing you'll notice is that the screen is a different colour. I'm using both a security administrator and a user, so I've got one set on a different theme to the other. So this is the default theme of everything is grey. My other user, Jane Doe, everything is blue on screen, and that's really so that I know which one I'm logged on at any point in time. So it might be something that you want to follow if you've got 2 different lots of IDs, one as a user, one as a security administrator. So as a security administrator, I'm going to click on Security, and then I'm going to click on Maintain Organisation Users. So I first of all want to find all the organisations and then find Jane. So I click on Find, and then I can see Jane at the bottom of the list. So your security administrator has found Jane. I'm going to click on the authorities, and this time the screen looks quite different. What the security administrator sees is a full list of authorities within the system that could be applicable. So you can see third one down says RP provider reports. What they would need to do is select that. Can you see that the add button has become available? Click on add and then click on save. Okay, so that submits a change request to HCA for approval. So let's click on OK. So the next time, hopefully Jane logs on, that will have been approved within the system. So next time you see IMS again, I'm going to be logged back on as Jane, and we'll hopefully see something quite different on provider reports this time. Okay, so logged on as Jane again in the training provider, and what I'm now going to do is access provider reports, and I will see something quite different to before. So if I click on provider reports, the screen changes and the 2 options that are available load. So we have forecast milestones and current program. So let's click on forecast milestones. So the report has a number of different types. I can select all milestones, or I can select approaching or lapsed milestones. It gives me the same report but just filters the data. It's automatically set for my provider, and just to note that that is at a partnership level. Within IMS you can't filter that data for developing organisations, although as you'll see that is one of the options on screen. So you can choose an operating area, or you can leave that blank to find all operating areas. To run the report and to generate some data, you click at the bottom on the Generate Report Data to show the data on screen. This can take a couple of seconds to happen, so let's do that now. You'll see that IMS is saying it's busy, and then it presents me with the data. How quick it is does depend on how many schemes you have within the system. So as we look along this list and use the scroll bar, you will see that the descriptions appear. So I've got training scheme A again, B appears twice, and C appears twice. Now, although that might appear to be a bit strange, the reason for that is because we are showing both the start and the completion milestone in all cases. So for The top scheme, Training Scheme A, we've got starts and completions showing with their own relevant dates. Across the end, we have the funding and we do have the units against each one. As you'll see, looking at those dates, none of them are lapsed currently, so no point in me running the lapsed report because that will generate no information. Although I will do that to prove that's the case. Click on lapsed milestones, and then again, remember to generate report. Okay, so this time I've got a blue line appearing at the top of the screen saying that the selection I'd made did not return any results. And that's correct because there are no lapsed milestones within the system. Let me just look at the other option, which is approaching milestones. Okay, so we then have an option this time of approaching criteria. So I can choose the current and next month, current and next 2, or current and next 3. Let me choose current and next 3 because that might be particularly useful for a quarterly review. So click on that and generate the report. And then I would only get those milestones that are due within the next month and 3 months. And as you can see, this is a shorter list. So if I scroll along, you will see that for Scheme A, we have both starts and completions, but for B and C, we only have starts. And that's because their completions are outside the 3-month window. Okay, so I'm now going to look at the other report that's there, which is the current programme report. So let me click on that. So having selected the second report, I get very slightly different options to select from. So if I click on the analysis type, and I'm going to click starts to start off with, I'll come back to expenditure at the end. So if I click on starts, I again have the option of operating area, but no approaching or anything like that this time. So click on generate report, and the report will appear on screen. So if I scroll along at this point, you will see that I have 3 lines this time, Scheme A, B, and C. And as I scroll along further, the months of the year start to appear. So Scheme A has 10 starts, Scheme B 10, and Scheme C 20. On the milestone forecast date, you will see when those dates are actually forecast currently to take place. So these are the approved dates within IMS. On the month columns, what you will see is it's showing 10 starts in June on Scheme A. You will see 10 starts on Scheme B in July and 20 starts in August on Scheme C. If I scroll along to the very end, what I get to see, or would if there was any data, is those schemes forecast for next year and then the year after that. If I click on completions, unit completions as the analysis type, you'll see how that data moves. So again, it blanks it as soon as you do that and click on generate report. So as you scroll along, very similar information. So Scheme A, Scheme B, and Scheme C. And you'll notice on Scheme C, that's with a different training provider, so a different developing organisation. So that's something that we can't filter on here, but I'll show you a way that you would be able to filter on that later on. So we've got the completions. And again, they are split by month in exactly the same format. But the completions on A are in June. On Scheme B, they are November. And Scheme C, they are October. Still nothing in the following years. So that's fine having the information on screen, but you can't print that information off from IMS, and you might want to do some filtering. But what IMS will let you do is it will let you export that data to Excel. So we do that by clicking on the Export Excel button. You do also have the option of the comma separated value. I tend to use the Excel version. So click on Excel, and what it will do when that happens, you won't see an Excel window pop up on screen, but it will email an Excel file to the email address shown above. Okay, so let me click on export. And the next time you see my screen, I'll be in the file that has been generated, and it'll be the unit completions screen. Okay, I've now opened up the Excel file that I've been sent. So it will identify when the report was run, that it was unit completions. Operating area is blank because I didn't select any options on that, and identifies which training provider, which partner I am. So it will always identify the lead within there. As you can see, this is the same data that you were seeing on screen. So we've got A, B, and C. We've got the developing organisations, and if I scroll across, you've got the units and the total. Now, what you can do within that is if you can view the developing organisation name, it's already set up with filters. I've not set up this up with filters. Click on that, and I can obviously choose just what's training provider 2 or just what is training provider 1. Or if I had more providers, any combination of those within there. Doesn't update the totals, that still gives you the overall totals, but it'll give you information that you will then be able to filter like I have done here, or pivot, or do anything that you want with. Okay, so I'm now back in the current program in IMS for unit completions. Just going to show you what happens if you do expenditure. So click on expenditure and then generate report. Now this time we've got twice the number of lines on there, and that's because when we pick expenditure, if we've got both starts and completions attracting payments, they will appear as separate lines because they're in separate months. So let's scroll across. So again, we're A at the top, 2, then B, then C. Scroll across further. So you will see that A doesn't have any funding associated with it, but is still appearing on this list because there are forecast starts and forecast completions. B and C both have monetary values against them, and you will see that the starts for B are in July, but its completions isn't until November. And similarly with Scheme C, which is the bottom two, it starts in August and the payment is there, and it completes in October and the payment is shown there. If they were completed in future years, obviously it would appear at the end 2 columns. So thanks very much for viewing our video. Really hope you found it useful and that you'll be able to start using Provider Report shortly if you're not already. If you have any feedback on this video, you can send it to the HCA IMS training inbox, the address for which is shown on screen. Thanks very much.